Hey, everybody. Happy Saturday. Welcome back to another What Else is Going On podcast, YouTube video, AKA We Go. Don't forget, in case you don't know and are new here, I do host a podcast, What Else is Going On with Taria S. Faison. That will be me. And that's where We Go comes from. What else is going on? You can find that podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify. I believe it's on Amazon Podcast now. If you're not sure, you can go to Instagram at WeGo, WEIGO podcast. And if you click the link in my bio, it will take you to whatever platform you listen to podcasts, whether if you have an Android, iPhone, all that good stuff. So I just wanted to come to y'all because I haven't been here in a few days, which is not the goal for the new year, but we're not going to look back. We're going to move forward. And I wanted to talk to y'all about some people, some things that people have been talking about all week long, but I felt like I wanted to come and give y'all my commentary and also see what y'all thought. So the first one, let's talk about Mr. Jonathan Majors. So we know that Jonathan was handed two convictions in his case with his ex, Grace Jabari, and his new love, I'm going to stick beside him, Megan Good, was right there through it all. So Jonathan did his first interview since his conviction. And according to page 6, shocked, Jonathan Majors breaks silence on guilty verdict, praises lovely girlfriend Megan Good. Jonathan Majors said he was shocked and afraid when a jury found him guilty in his domestic violence trial. I'm standing there and the verdict comes down. I say, how was that possible based off the evidence, based off the prosecution's evidence, let alone our evidence? How was that possible? The former Marvel star told ABC News Live in his first sit-down interview since his December 18th conviction. Majors, 34, was found guilty on one count of misdemeanor. I didn't realize he was only 34. I thought he was older. Majors, 34, was found guilty on one count of misdemeanor third-degree assault and one count of second-degree harassment of his ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari. The jury acquitted the Creed 3-star on two other counts of assault and aggravated harassment in a split verdict. He is awaiting sentencing in the misdemeanor charges, which will take place on February the 6th, but already declared that he will appeal his convictions. I'm really blessed. I'm surrounded by people who love me, who care about me, but this has been very, very, very hard and very difficult and confusing in many ways, Majors told journalist Lindsay Davis, but I'm standing. Because him and Donnie McClurkin, y'all still standing. The actor revealed he has not seen his younger daughter, Ella, because of the case against him. Everything has kind of gone away, and it's just me now, and my lovely, partner, Megan, and my dogs. Although the jury's verdict indicated that they believe Majors assaulted his then girlfriend, he insisted he did so unintentionally, saying he had picked up Jabari and put her in a for-hire SUV, which was one of the biggest mistakes of his life. I pick her up, I put her back in the car. I'm trying to get rid of her. I'm trying to get away from her, as the video shows, Second biggest mistake of my life. I try to keep her in the car. The Devotion star also vehemently denied twisting Jabari's arm and maintained he is unaware of how she obtained her injuries. She went to grab the phone. I held the phone. I pulled the phone back. She came on top of me, squeezed my face, slapped me. That's all I remember. Child, maybe she slapped him so hard he blacked out. I don't know. I wish to God I knew. That would give me clarity. That would give me some type of peace about it. Now, a spokesperson for Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office responded to ABC News Live, saying in part that they do their speaking in court. Jabari, 31, testified in court that she became scared of Majors after he allegedly berated her for bringing up an ex-boyfriend. She also alleged that after she and the Lovecraft Country actor would get into fights, he'd refer to himself as a monster and threaten suicide. Majors was arrested on March 25th. Man, it's almost been a year. After he and the Barbie actress got into a domestic dispute while taking a taxi home from a bar in Brooklyn. It is clear that the jury did not believe Grace Jabari's story of what happened in the SUV because they found that Mr. Majors did not intentionally cause any injuries to her. We are grateful for that, his lawyer, Priya Chaudhry, told Page 6 following the verdict. We are disappointed, however, that despite not believing Ms. Jabari, the jury nevertheless found that Mr. Majors was somehow reckless while she was attacking him. So what do y'all think? Because on one hand, if we're going by, okay, the jury has to go by what they see in the video, right? And they don't see what allegedly happened inside the car and what he's alleging that Grace did to him. What they see is what we all saw, which is him trying to put her back in the car and then him running and her running after him for miles upon miles upon miles. So if we're going by what we saw, I can see how if he's throwing her in the car accidentally, she may have hit her head or what have you. I don't know. I think there's a lot more at play, like the text messages and the different manipulation tactics that he used with her. You know, basically, I'm a monster. I'm this, I'm that, you know. I want to see how this is going to play out. I don't think he's going to get, do y'all think he's going to get jail time? I don't think he's going to get jail time, but we'll see. And I also wonder if he doesn't get jail time, is he still going to appeal the convictions? Because technically a conviction goes on your record, but he doesn't have a regular type job. So is he going to appeal the conviction just so he could try to get this cleared so he can start working again? I'm also interested to see what studio or production company is going to be the first one to take a chance on working with him. But I don't know. I do want him to stop referencing Coretta Scott King. I'm sure I've seen a lot of people say that. I'm sure y'all watching probably agree the same. It's like, enough. And I didn't know he had a daughter. And I don't know if it was intentional that he mentioned his daughter in this interview, maybe sympathy, you know. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot happening that we know and that we don't know. And I don't think either party was innocent in what went on. I do want to know who he was texting on the phone. Do y'all think it was Megan? Like, do y'all really think him and Megan have been seeing each other this whole time? I don't know. I wonder if that is part of the evidence that they concealed, that there was a piece that they took out or something like that. I don't know. So we will see about Mr. Majors. But yeah. And him likening himself to like a civil rights movement. I'm confused. All right. Speaking of convictions and things, let's get into the Chrisleys. Now, did y'all watch the Chrisleys? I'm going to tell you, I remember when they first came out, me and my family, my husband and my kids, we would literally watch that together. I don't know if did we discover them their first season, but I know that we would watch them. We would binge the shows. And then when they would have marathons, y'all, we would crack up. And I feel like the Chrisleys were like a reality show like The Housewives, where it starts out, you could tell like real, authentic. They don't really know what they're doing. They're just showing us our life. And then somewhere along the way, it becomes a production. And I get it. Even if you are showing your real, everyday, real life, certain things do have to be set up. You have to get permits to, like, certain things have to be planned in reality, because you have to go get permits to film certain places. You can't just show up with a camera crew if you don't have permitting and all that kind of stuff. So I get that certain things in reality have to be set up and pre-planned and produced. But I feel like the Chrisleys, I don't know. I just feel like it was like, okay, we're really watching y'all playing this out. But I have to say, it was still funny. I thought Todd was hilarious. So let's get into them. According to Entertainment Weekly, in prison, Todd and Julie Chrisley received $1 million settlement from state of Georgia. The couple are currently serving time on federal fraud and tax evasion charges. Todd and Julie Chrisley have something to celebrate, even while still behind bars. The former reality stars, who are currently serving time for fraud and tax evasion, received a $1 million settlement from the state of Georgia. The couple had filed a lawsuit against Joshua Waits, the former director of special investigation of the state's Department of Revenue, in 2019, alleging that he had committed misconduct in connection with his investigation of the Chrisleys. We have been saying for months that the criminal case against the Chrisleys was highly unusual and had real problems, the family's attorney, Alex Little of Burr and Foreman, LLP, said in a statement. This settlement is an encouraging sign. The statement continued, it's nearly unprecedented for one arm of the government to pay money to defendants when another arm is fighting to keep them in jail. The Chrisleys were cleared of a $2 million state tax evasion case in Georgia in 2019 and subsequently filed a lawsuit against Waits, claiming he was specifically targeting their family. Reps for the state of Georgia Department of Revenue did not immediately respond to Entertainment Weekly's request for comment. Despite beating the state charges, the couple were later indicted by a federal grand jury for 12 counts of bank and wire fraud, tax evasion, and conspiracy, all of which they have denied. The stars of Chrisley Knows Best were found guilty of conspiracy to defraud banks out of more than $30 million in fraudulent loans, as well as several other federal charges of tax evasion in June 2022. They were originally sentenced to a combined 19 years in prison, but last September, Todd's sentence was reduced to about 10 years from 12, while Julie's was reduced to about 5 years from 7. The Chrisleys are best known for their reality show, which followed real estate tycoon Todd Chrisley and his wealthy family for 10 seasons on the USA Network. The show was canceled upon Todd and Julie Chrisley's sentencing in November of 2022, along with the spinoff series Growing Up Chrisley, centered around their children, Chase and Savannah. According to the Chrisleys' lawyer, their appeal of their criminal convictions will be heard by the federal appeals court in Atlanta in April. So I've never seen that before either. I guess it is rare where the state of Georgia, Department of Revenue did an investigation against them. And I remember listening to Todd and Julie's podcast, because they had a podcast, and they went through everything from top to bottom, how they were innocent, and they named this person and all the different things that he had done to them. And I remember thinking, wow, they do sound innocent. And I've said this before on YouTube. I think I said it in my last video. You could be listening to one side of the story, and the evidence or receipts that they have, they're not showing you, you don't physically see them, but they're telling you the receipts they have, and they sound believable, right? Like, oh, okay, they got dates, times, this, now. Again, we're not seeing said emails that they say have been sent, or we're not seeing documents, but they're sounding legit. Then you also listen to the other side, and they sound legit. And it's wild that people can just say anything, put anything out there, and the people that like you are going to back you. The people that don't are going to believe it. So what I want to see is if this affects their federal time that they're doing, because yes, they won against the state of Georgia, right? So not only did they win, they got a settlement of $1 million. And I also wonder if that $1 million, will they even touch that money? Is it going to go to the person in charge of their affairs, their daughter, Savannah, or is that going to go towards restitution, or is it going to sit somewhere until their appeal is heard? So do y'all think that the Chrisleys are guilty, or, if you know about the case? I do think it's interesting that the state of Georgia, not only did the Chrisleys win their case against them, they're paying them $1 million, but the federal arm is like, nah, y'all did this. Y'all are going to stay in here, and we ain't going to hear nothing from y'all until their April conviction. I believe Julie just celebrated a birthday, if I'm not mistaken, like a week or so ago. And she says she hopes that it is her last in jail. So we'll see. Speaking of arrests and convictions, there's a theme here. Let's talk about Mr. Peter Thomas. Every single time I hear Peter's name, I say it in Nene's voice. Peter Thomas. So let's talk about Peter. According to Page 6, Real Housewife of alum Cynthia Bailey's ex-husband, Peter Thomas, arrested for DUI. I know Cynthia is tired. Like, why am I in it? Why every time y'all talk about Peter, my name is tied to it? But that's just how it goes. Cynthia Bailey's ex-husband, Peter Thomas, was arrested for driving under the influence. Page 6 can confirm. Police booked Thomas on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard in Cobb County, Georgia. He posed for a mugshot and was released the same day on a nearly $3,000 bail. His booking sheet states. He was also cited for driving without a license, not having proof of insurance, failure to maintain lane, expired/no tag, and a violation of a traffic control device. Y'all, he was not just driving under the influence. no license, no proof of insurance, failure to maintain a lane change, or sorry, failure to maintain lane. So I guess that means he was swerving, expired/no tag, and a violation of a traffic control device. A judge decreed that Thomas, 63, is prohibited from drinking alcohol and ingesting marijuana. He also must submit to random drug and alcohol testing at his own cost and cannot possess any firearms. A rep for Thomas didn't immediately return page 6's request for comment, but Thomas himself spoke out about his DUI arrest via Instagram video he shared Friday. He said, "My phone is blowing up. Everyone's calling me. I'm wondering what's going on." As he was casually sipping a cup of coffee sitting in an airplane. Then I realized it's the DUI thing that happened last Wednesday. I refused to blow. I spent the night in the hospital because my blood pressure was so high, the Bar One owner recalled. They told me I have to turn myself in because there was going to be a warrant. So I did so. Turned myself in, bailed myself out in 3 hours. He then sarcastically thanked the officers involved in his experience. Thomas seemingly complained about the situation, adding, "Of all the venues and all the years I've been in this game, I've never been arrested for DUI. I'm mindful about that. I have a little brother that got killed because of drunk driving, so I am really mindful of that." He ended the video thanking fans for their concern. Thomas also joked in the text he added to top his video, writing, "Y'all, bad news. As a responsible vendor, I am responsible." Thomas is no stranger to run-ins with the law, having been arrested at Miami International Airport in 2019 on a warrant from Louisiana for allegedly writing fraudulent checks. So he's saying that he's mindful. I don't see where he said I wasn't drinking and I wasn't drunk. What he said was he refused to blow and he spent the night in the hospital because his blood pressure was so high. Then he had to turn himself in because there was going to be a warrant. He is mindful of that because he had a younger brother that was killed by a drunk driver. But he never said that he wasn't drinking. So we'll see. I was also watching Funky Dineva's live from Thursday. It was either Thursday or Wednesday night. I'm not sure which one. But he was saying that someone sent him a video of the sheriffs showing up, to Bar One in Miami, and that there's no longer a Bar One in Miami, and that Peter was being, his business was evicted from the place. So it seemed like Mr. Thomas got a lot going on. So we'll see how this all plays out. Notice that in his video, he didn't address the no license, the expired tags, failure to maintain a lane. So we'll see about that. Peter got a lot. Peter stayed with a lot going on. Peter might as well have been a housewife. All right, let's jump on into Miss Vivica A. Fox. And Taraji. So as we know, The Color Purple movie came out Christmas evening. I am not a movie goer. I'm just not a movie person. My family is, but I'm not heavy into going to movies like that. But I did go, and me and my family did go and see The Color Purple Christmas night. I enjoyed it. It's gotten mixed reviews. Some people weren't happy because things that were in the original weren't in this. I read the book. I remember reading the book when I was younger, watched the movie over and over and over again, and then saw this. So I get that it was an adaptation, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. All the ladies are so talented. And I said, "Taraji, you better sing." I didn't know that she sang like that. So during the promotional tour of The Color Purple, Taraji has been speaking about low pay and just the conditions that Black actresses have to work under, and that she's tired of feeling like every time she feels like she's achieved something or moved up the ladder, she gets knocked back down again, and she has to fight all over. And Viola Davis has commented that she agreed there's been a lot of Black actresses that have stood in solidarity with her. So Vivica Fox was out and about and asked by a reporter, "Do you feel like now is the perfect time to have the conversation that Taraji kind of continued, Or for Monique, or, you're an actress, you've been out there. Is this the perfect time to kind of talk about that and the right platform? And to me, and I'm laughing because to me, my initial feeling when I heard Vivica was she might as well have said, I'm good, love, enjoy. That's what I got from it. But her response was, darling, to each his own, to each its own. Do you know what I mean? I'm very happy, very blessed, and to each his own. I didn't have that experience, so to each his own. But to get your piece out is important. I totally understand that. And I love my girls for looking out for each other, but I'm good. I'm noticing in this space of people answering questions, they don't answer the questions that they're asked. They offer up other information, which in turn then kind of gives you a little bit of insight like, there are some people that feel like Vivica was throwing Taraji under the bus with that answer, her saying, I'm very happy, I'm very blessed, I'm good. I don't have that experience. For me, and this is just for me, in my opinion, I don't necessarily think she was throwing Taraji under the bus. What I think was she was putting out there, hey, y'all, and she was putting this message out to Hollywood. I'm good. I'm not out here complaining, trying to shake the table. I'm good doing the work that I'm doing. I want to keep getting hired. I don't want to be looked at as a troublemaker or a whistleblower. So I feel like she put out there to cover herself while also still wanting to try to support the ladies in a certain way. But I feel like had she just answered the question that was asked of her, she wouldn't be getting some of the backlash that she's getting. Now, one could say, well, you know what? She was asked a question and she can answer any way she wants. And you would be right. All of us have been asked questions that we've maybe given too much information or caused blowback because we said too much and didn't even end up answering the question. We see this a lot with reality stars. They'll be asked the question, or even these Instagram lives or YouTube, like with Dr. Heavenly, Carlos, what I've noticed about their lives. Heavenly will be asked the question specifically, and she ends up talking so much and saying so much other stuff. It's like, had you just answered the question, we wouldn't be dealing with a whole nother can of worms. So with Vivica, I feel like she should have just answered the question. I have an aunt who's a retired school teacher. Shout out to my Aunt Eleanor. And she gave me this advice in reference to dealing with kids, but I feel like it's good advice in dealing with anyone. When you're asked the question, answer the question and answer it in technical terms. And then if the person has more questions after that, then you answer those questions. Now, I get that sometimes everything is not just black and white. So everything is not a yes or a no. Context does have to be provided. So sometimes somebody asks you a question and it's yes, if this happens, or no, if this happens. I'll never forget my daughter. She's 26 now, but she was between 5 and 7 at the time. She said, I was doing her hair and she said, Mom, what's a virgin? And y'all, I started to go into all this information about what sex was and then what a virgin was. And I remembered what my aunt said. So I said, a person who has not had sexual intercourse yet. Then I was getting ready to go into what sexual intercourse was, but I stopped. And she said, oh, okay. And didn't have any more. We didn't have any more conversation about it until like later when she was a little older and, blase, blase. So I feel like Vivica could have really said, because again, I'm going to read the question again. The person asked her, do you feel like now is the perfect time to have the conversation that Taraji kind of continued? Or for Monique, or, you're an actress, you've been out there. Is this the perfect time to kind of talk about that and the right platform? I think she was good when she said, to get your piece out is important. I totally understand that. And I love my girls for looking out for each other. She even could have said, if you're experiencing any type of injustice, using your platform to get the message out, it's always the right time. And then just left it alone. But again, I think she wanted to send a signal to Hollywood. Hey, y'all, I'm good. I'm supporting my girls, but I'm good. So I'm going to keep taking what y'all are giving me. That's just my opinion. What do y'all think? Now, Miss Monique, Auntie Monique was like, I'm right there for you. I got something for you. So let's get into what Miss Monique had to say about all of this going on, because Oprah, real quick, Oprah did an interview. She was speaking to someone, and I apologize, I can't remember the name. I just heard it yesterday. And she brought up, that clip that's going around of Taraji and Oprah, and people are saying that it looks like Oprah has a problem with Taraji. She didn't stand next to her, that she then went to the end of the line when the other ladies came up, and she seems to really love Danielle, but she seemed like she didn't have too much for Taraji. Oprah said that, there's this clip going around, and, it was cold that day and we had a lot going on. And, I've always supported Taraji. So it was like she addressed the clip, but not quite. Like, I was waiting for her to say, man, I had seen Taraji a few minutes before, and hugged her, and we had talked before. And then we get upstairs outside and it's freezing, and we were waiting for the other ladies to come up. And the reason I moved to the end of the line was so the main ladies in the movie could be featured. She didn't say any of that. So I thought that was interesting, because I was listening to what she said and didn't say. And once again, how people address things. So Auntie Monique has entered the chat. Auntie Monique this is according to Hollywood Unlocked. Monique on Taraji P. Henson revealing poor set conditions on the Color Purple set, says producer Oprah got caught. Monique, in response to Taraji P. Henson's recent revelation about her challenging experience on the set of The Color Purple, has voiced her opinion and shared that she had expressed a similar sentiment years ago. During Monique's conversation with James R. Sanders from The Root, the actress who won an Academy Award expressed her belief that Henson and her fellow actors deserved better treatment, particularly concerning that they were personally chosen for the film. So when Oprah sits at the helm and Taraji P. Henson says, "It's an honor that we were handpicked for this movie." Well, if they were handpicked for that movie, those women should have been taken care of from the moment go, Monique explained. At first, Monique noticed how Oprah responded to Taraji's situation after it gained attention in the media. She believed the influential media mogul did not exhaust all possible efforts to support Henson and other Black women working on the set. Everything was, "Didn't I champion for y'all?" I was like, stop it. You didn't champion for those Black women, for our sisters. What she did was, "We can treat them like we always treat them. Who gonna check me, boo? I'm Oprah Winfrey." Monique's husband and manager, Sidney Hicks, shared his perspective on the matter, stating that Oprah should have taken responsibility for addressing and resolving any potential problems on set. Monique chimed in, asserting that Oprah was caught in a compromising situation. Oprah got caught. That's what happened. As previously reported, Oprah addressed the rumors that she and Henson had an alleged feud and questioned why she was mentioned in anything. Oprah said, "I would just like to say about this whole Taraji thing. I heard I was trending yesterday. People are saying that I was not supporting Taraji. Taraji will tell you herself that I've been the greatest champion of this film, championing not only the behind the scenes projection, but also everything that everybody needed. So whenever I heard there was something that someone needed, I'm not in charge of the budget, because that's Warner Brothers. That's the way the studio system works." So there are some people that are saying, Oprah, because you're the producer, you are in charge of the budget. She's now saying it's Warner Brothers. It's the studio in charge. So who knows? I think it could be different maybe for each individual project, depending on whether it's a commercial, it's a movie, a musical, you just don't know. So I was really waiting for Monique to speak out to see what she had to say. Also, it seems like The Color Purple did really well when it was released Christmas night, but now it seems like the numbers are declining. And I've seen different conversation. People are wondering, is it because people are like, well, I'm not going to go see the movie because of the conditions that these women suffered. I actually heard someone say they didn't know if they were going to go see it because of that. So it's kind of like, oh, do y'all think that the numbers are declining in people going to see these movies because while they're promoting the movie, they're also discussing pay, inequities and the conditions that they first had to put up with that they shouldn't have, them not having trailers, them having to drive themselves to set. I agree. When I think about white actresses, and would they have to put up with this? Even white actresses that don't have the star power of some other white actresses, would they have to put up with this at all? And it brings to mind last night, my husband, my cousin, and my youngest daughter went to go see the Temptations in Philly. Ain't Too Proud to Beg. Y'all, when I tell you they're on tour, phenomenal. And there was a segment in the play where they talked about crossing over. Berry Gordy wanted them to cross over. They had to appeal to the white audience. So it's like they're singing, Black folks love them, but now they gotta not sing about this or not talk about this, not talk about the war. You know, the song War that was given, that Edwin Starr sung, war, what is it good for? You know, that song. That was originally supposed to be for the Temptations, but Barry didn't want them to sing it because of the white audience. And then it ended up being Edwin Starr's biggest song. And just what they were fighting for, just they were one of the biggest groups in R&B, you know, at the rhythm and blues at that time, and what they had to fight for. You got Black people, you got white people singing their music and loving their music and buying their music, right? But they still had to sacrifice so much of themselves and not talk about their treatment because they needed that white audience. And I'm looking at Taraji and Viola Davis supporting her and all these other Black actresses coming out. And it's 2024 and Black actresses are still having to deal with stuff. Entertainers in general, singers, actresses, actors, content creators are still having to deal with this kind of stuff. And so it's like, do you not speak up because you're promoting this movie and you want these numbers to be big? You know, do you not speak up? Like, I don't know if there is a right time. I feel like it's always the right time, but it's easy for me to sit here and say that because I'm not a part of this movie. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy for me to say, speak up. That's right. Speak up as you are going on a promotional tour for this movie. Get the word out. But I'm also not a part of the cast who knows the exposure that this movie could do for me. So I don't know, but I'm supporting our sisters. I'm always going to root for everybody Black. And I hope, you know, as much as people love Oprah, Lady O, at this point, we've got to be of the mindset that if you are doing anything that doesn't have good intentions for people that look like us, you need to be exposed, period. So we'll see where this goes. We'll see if Oprah speaks out or answers what Monique said. Probably not. We'll see. So y'all let me know what you think. Oh, I actually have one more story that I wanted to talk to y'all about, and it was heartbreaking when I saw this come across in my news feeds that I get. My heart just, so an HBCU administrator died by, they removed themselves off the earth. The school's president is now on leave. According to USA Today, a historically Black college and university is mourning the death of one of its former administrators, and some alumni say racism was at play and the institution's president is to blame. Antoinette Bonnie Candia Bailey was the vice president of student affairs at Lincoln University of Missouri, an HBCU in Jefferson City. Candia Bailey, who was Black, died by removing herself on Monday. According to Sherman Bonds, the president of Lincoln's National Alumni Association, she'd recently been fired. Now the university's board of curators, its governing body, is conducting a review of its president, John B. Mosley. Mosley, who's white, has volunteered to be placed on paid administrative leave while the review is conducted, the board statement says. I'm going to say that again. The president of Lincoln, this particular Lincoln campus, John B. Mosley, who's white, has volunteered to be placed on paid administrative leave while that review is conducted. The board plans to hire a third-party expert to do the probe. As a board, we are committed to make certain The mental health of Lincoln University employees is a priority, and that every employee is always treated with dignity and respect, said Board of Curators President Victor Parsley in a statement. The board has confidence in the leadership team we have at Lincoln, but as we all work together to serve students and the Lincoln University community, this review will fully examine important questions concerning and gather facts. Dr. Mosley agrees those issues should be examined and has volunteered to go on leave during the review so that it can move forward in a fully independent way. In her email sent in the early hours of January 8th, which included in it previous email threads, Candia Bailey referenced her mental health struggles and accused Mosley, who is the white president of that university, of intentionally harassing and bullying her. Candia Bailey, a Lincoln alumna who joined the university last May, described scenarios in which she was set up to fail as an administrator. She said, "You had no intention of retaining me as the vice president of student affairs. It went downhill after the FMLA and ADA documents were submitted due to my severe depression and anxiety. I requested to be removed under your leadership and from the president's advisory council as this was causing significant attacks. This is all documented and email sent." The email says she received a 36 out of 100 on a November 2023 professional evaluation, despite regularly working after hours and not receiving examples of why her marks were so low. Lincoln is where it started for me and where it ended. Candia Bailey's aunt, LaDonna Candia Flanagan, confirmed in an email to USA Today Friday that the cause of death was she took her own life. Dr. Bonnie, as she was affectionately called, was known for her vibrant personality, quick wit, and infectious smile. Candia Flanagan said in a statement, citing the alleged bullying and harassment. She left an indelible mark on everyone she encountered. Born with an extroverted spirit, she never met a stranger and was admired for her kind and compassionate nature. Dr. Bonnie's confidence, unique style, and her ability to challenge the thoughts of others set her apart as a true leader. The university and Mosley, the white president of this HBCU, did not immediately respond to USA Today's request for comment on Friday. In a Facebook post Thursday, the university offered a brief tribute to Candia Bailey and offered its condolences to her family. She was a gifted colleague and always a passionate advocate for Lincoln University, HBCUs, and other causes in which she believed. The Lincoln and broader HBCU communities are reverberating with testimonials. I think I said that word wrong. With testimonials about the positive impact Candia Bailey had, with many highlighting the racial dynamics at play. Social media posts with the hashtag Fire Mosley and hashtag Justice for Bonnie question why a white man oversees a Black college and describe the mistreatment of Candia Bailey. And describe the mistreatment Candia Bailey allegedly endured as a Black woman. In a letter posted to the Lincoln Alum Association's Facebook page on Thursday, Francis E. Curtis, an alumnus and fellow sorority member who was CC'd on Candia Bailey's January 8th email, lamented that Mosley's leadership, the white president of this Black college, and rebranding of the institution. Mosley is Lincoln's first white president since 1922. Curtis wrote that Mosley cannot speak for me. He does not speak for me. How can this man work in the best interest of young people who are Black like me when he does not reflect them racially or culturally? Curtis posed in the letter directed to the university's Board of Curators. I believe that the dynamics of race played a huge part in this. Wilmore, one of the alumni who forwarded Candia Bailey's email, said in an interview with USA Today, "Many of us honestly in our hearts believe there was some specific bias and targeting from Mosley to Dr. Bonnie." Chaz Robinson, an education policy advisor at the think tank Third Way, met Candia Bailey several years ago as a doctoral student, still finding his way in the world of academia. Having grown up in a working class family, raised by a single Black mom, he lacked the connections and money many of his peers enjoyed and frequently questioned his own worth. But Candia Bailey, then an administrator at a small college in Massachusetts, encouraged him to participate in a panel comprised of scholars more experienced than him and ensured he got paid for his time. She praised him in front of others, highlighting his merits and potential. She had a smile that lit up the space. She was really just special and someone I never forgot, Robinson said. Her death should be a wake-up call. Black women are going through a lot, and we as a society have to do better by them. We have to do better by recognizing mental health and by creating environments in the workplace where it doesn't have to come to that. Bonds, the National Alumni Association president, agreed that Candia Bailey's death should prompt change and said he'd be concerned about Mosley's leadership since he was appointed in early 2022. The president administration has become a liability to the mission and health of the institution, he wrote in a January 9th letter. Wilmore, a history professor and sports coach who now lives in South Carolina, highlighted the camaraderie of the Lincoln community and how its alumni have consistently come together in moments of grief. It seems like every year we're losing a family member, but through it all, Lincoln has always stuck together. Lincoln has always been family-oriented, and whenever the family is targeted and done wrong, we tend to back that family member up. That was heartbreaking for me. And to think about this Black woman at this Black institution, if I'm not mistaken, Lincoln in Pennsylvania, wasn't that the first HBCU? Y'all can fact check me on that, but I believe it's the oldest, right? This Black woman, the vice president at this historically Black college, a white man then gets appointed as president. And she takes her own life after documented emails documenting the bullying and harassment that she experienced. When I read that, it just really broke my heart. I was having a conversation with my cousin last night on the way to see The Temptations about the things that Black women still go through, in this world. And it's like, it is 2024 and Black women are still dealing with, pay disparity and racial inequity and so much. So my heart goes out to Dr. Candia Bailey's family, sending them support and love and prayers. And I truly am going to be watching out for this story to see what this investigation leads to. So y'all, thank you so much for watching. I will be back later with my Real Housewives of Salt Lake City review. That reunion was something else. Talk to y'all later. Bye.